Kurtzpel. Now this is a game I didn't think I'd be playing anytime soon. Kurtzpel recently went into closed beta for the North American region, and the beta is playable for 4 days, but by the time you're seeing this video, it was playable for 4 days. I'm currently working on this video on day 3 of the beta, and the game has only been playable at specific times. And because of this, it didn't really work too well with my schedule since I'm currently out of town, but I still found time to play a ton on day 1 and a bit on day 3 to see what I missed. I've played enough to discover most of the features the beta had to offer, not all of them, but most of them. Definitely enough to discuss this game and talk about it. What is Kurtzpel? Is it an MMORPG? Technically, maybe, yeah, but think something like L-Sword, Warframe, or Closers, where you have a hub or area that displays a lot of characters, but once you actually go on a mission or dungeon, you're limited to only a few players. From what I can see, this is a PvE/PvP type of game that focuses on arenas and pretty much testing your skill, and it really is a game that's about skill. I'll talk about this more, but first I want to discuss the prologue and early on things we see when playing Kurtzpel. But just to clarify, it is an instanced mission type of game that's co-op, although the story mode missions seem to be solo. But don't expect an open world or instant zones or dungeons with tons of levels, because I've yet to see any of that. Maybe they'll release something like that later, or maybe they have already in Cryy, but based on my first impressions, it's a mission game. Now, to start things off, I love the style of this game. I prefer this type of stylized graphics over any other. Yes, I like anime themed games, as you can tell. Character creation is not the most detailed thing in the world. You can change hairstyles, some facial features such as eyes, pupils, eyebrows, colors of certain parts, face paint. During character customization, you can even mess with the body, but you can't get really detailed with it, as the faces will have the same shapes for the most part, depending on your sex. I hear they might be adding more later down the line, but even if they don't, everyone in the game will appear to look different just because of the other options you can change, so it's not that big of a deal. But if you're one for character customization that's really, goes in depth, this is not the one. But I'd still say it's above average. Once in game, you can also change your outfit and accessories, and there are a lot of different options. So I think later on in this game, we'll have a crazy amount of cosmetic customization, and I am all for it. Creating your character is pretty unique because it asks you certain questions that will determine the type of character you are. You don't have to go with what they recommend, and I've yet to really discover what this means or does for your character, but it is interesting, as I'm sure it plays a role on your stats or build, maybe even the story or your starting class. The introduction to the game or opening scene is animated, and it looks really good. Like, this is good animation. I usually find this odd when they go from anime to 3D during the actual gameplay, but the sound effects, music, and animation were all on point. It even hits you in the feels a little bit. Jumping into the actual game, they waste no time with getting you right into the action. For the first mission, you fight a huge knight, the second mission a giant golem, the third mission a large dragon, straight into the action. And the sound effects and impact, top notch. You move with WASD and attack with your mouse for basic attacks and combos. So depending on how many times you left click into a right click, you get what I'm saying. It could perform a slam, triple slash, or a few other attacks. You'll also have special attacks you can use with E, R, and F. Your ultimate will be Q, which builds up from your attacks, and you even get a cool scene with it. It's very badass. The UI is really clean, perfect for any minimalist, but my only issue was the combo guide floating in the top right corner the whole entire time I've played, but I know that's just because this was beta and we don't have access to edit any of the settings, so this isn't a real complaint. In the main hub, the FPS wasn't that good, but during missions it was fine. I don't really want to nitpick things I feel will be fixed in the future updates or the final version of the game, because this is a very bare bones build of the game. Like, very early on build. It's the first one we're getting, so let me just remind you of that. Now, even though the FPS seemed okay in missions, sometimes it felt like I teleported a bit, clipped, or slightly lagged. I can't really tell which one it was because the gameplay is it's fast. Didn't really impact my gameplay that much, but it was there. To do a mission, you'll go over to a certain area of the main hub, and you'll pull up a map and select from a few different mission types. You have PvP, where you'll team up against another team with an objective. This could be taking control of an area, or it could be capturing a flag and holding it for as long as possible. There's also the PvE, which continued to just be teaming up and fighting what felt like a boss fight, and I can already tell that this game will be difficult. It wasn't too hard in the beta, but I have died once and seen a few other players die a lot, and I got hit really hard by some of these bosses, so I can only imagine what the other fights will bring with dodging mechanics and damage. Enemies also have a break bar, and once broken it gives you an opportunity to deal a ton of damage and perform attacks or combos that require the enemy to be still. There's also a story mode, which was single player for every mission that I took on. I can't really say I felt the story too much during the actual game other than the opening, but some of the scenes throughout the story are pretty entertaining. Now, I noticed that the scenes were very smooth, even the transitions, but there was clipping with characters' hair and outfits, and some of the shadows seemed off. Now, I feel like this is just going to be part of the game, even in its final build, but I could be totally wrong. But unlike Black Desert, great game in a lot of areas, but it seems like they can't get rid of the pop-in no matter what they do. It's just kinda part of the game. What makes this game's combat so amazing isn't just the impact of your attacks, the amazing sound effects, the pumped up soundtrack during boss fights, or big ass great swords you can wield, but it's the fact that you can run 2 classes, or karmas as they call it, at the same time. You can even combo these karmas. I'm talking knocking someone in the air with a karma, switching, knocking them down, switching and doing it again, keeping the combo going, even teaming up with someone to have them combo off of your karma with theirs. Most of the missions I did, I used a greatsword and gauntlets, but I did, throw a staff or mage karma in the mix every now and then. In addition to being able to run multiple classes, there are karma crystal slots that will allow you to customize your build even more. There are a few things I disliked about the game, but for the most part I really enjoyed Kurtzpel and would love to play this game again. But before I continue with praise, what didn't I like? Well, in the first mission with the Giant Knight, I noticed when using special moves or knocking the enemy down, his iframes were way too long. I had to wait for him to get up to perform another attack and deal damage, or ended up accidentally wasting other special moves. It was just really tedious and led me to think that the rest of the enemies in this game would be like this, which is not true. It was really only the Big Knight and other human characters you fight. That includes PvP. The optimization of this game seemed okay for day 1, but on day 3 I just noticed some of the gameplay and scenes being more choppy. Again, this could be on my laptop's end, or the answer could be that it's just a very early build and we're in beta. But in the case optimization remains like this, I can see a lot of people complaining. I'll still play it even if the optimization isn't the best. It's no Bless Online, I tell you that. But yeah, hoping it gets worked out. And back to Knockdowns, I'm hoping we get a trinket or some type of fix because during fights it takes a bit too long to get up. Now I can see why they have it like this. For example, PvP, this gives you an opportunity to capture the flag. PvE, if you're fighting 2 enemies, this gives you a small amount of time to deal with one while the other is down. It makes sense, but I don't know if this is the reason why the knockdown time is so damn long, and maybe I'm just being picky. But other than that, the game is great. I can see myself playing it for a long time and having a lot of fun. But I don't see it being my main game. I do love PvP, and I would play it alone for that. Adding PvE, giant bosses, good dodging mechanics, and difficulty, sign me the fuck up. But not having a world to explore and only sticking to missions can only go so far for me. Final thoughts. Kurtzpel was amazing, and I can't wait to play it again. I hope those outside of North America will get a chance to play, and I plan to make more content on this game in the future. If they make some cool outfits and accessories, I'll also open up my wallet the day their cash shop goes live. With all that being said though, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. See you soon, friends.